The Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $100 and get $100 at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. At sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. State restrictions apply. We're also brought to you by the D-Gen Dance. Our March Madness bankroll contest is back. Free to enter in $1,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs. Plus, we've got first half under bingo. Enter both contests on the SGPN app. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Sunday, the 13th of March. 12th. Oh, I've hit the post. Sunday, the 12th of March. And we are here to have a little look over a weekend of Premier League games that finished about 3 hours ago. And we're going to have a look at, we've got 3 competitions this week. There's 2 Premier League games, 4 Champions League. We've got some Europa League as well. Joining me first up, Mr. Barry Penaluna. Bazza, what's happening?
Evening, Malcolm. All good here, thanks. How are you?
You look very brown, Baz. I mean, not you. I mean, like your outfit. Various shades of brown.
Yeah, it's grey, actually. But
was it?
What's happened here, Malcolm, is we've got a light bulb out above me.
Oh, you're joking, aren't you?
So it's playing havoc with the colour schemes and stuff like.
We're going to be all right to continue.
I think we'll get by.
Excellent,
you might have noticed I've not used the green screen for a while. That's because there's a light bulb out. And also the reason I've got headphones tonight is because when one of the light bulbs goes out, there's 10 of them in this kitchen. And when one of them goes out, there's a really high-pitched squeaking noise that it makes, as if to say, will you change one of these light bulbs? And I can't because I can't.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So if I put my headphones on, I can't hear it. And hopefully nobody else can.
What an incredible story to start the show. Yeah. Would you like to borrow some of my Gorilla Glue? Do you think that would help?
No, I don't think so. No,
all right, okay. Coming up, Baz, we've got a guest. That's exciting. Listener, contributor, reader for our Discord channel, Serial, who, if you're in the Discord channel, you'll know is a true soccer degen. He's in there all the time. So, and we reckon a bit of a Champions League expert as well. So, Serial's going to come on in about 15 minutes once we've whizzed through this weekend's picks. And we are going to whiz through them, Baz, mainly because they were shite. So, what happened was 2 weeks ago, we started making noises thinking we were quite good at this. And since then, we've been terrible. So that's a bit of a...
Same, Malcolm. Since then, we've been terrible on weekends. My midweek form has been good.
All right, okay.
Tonight's the one to listen to, because the last 2 midweeks, I reckon I've come out ahead. Weekend last week was crap. And this week was more of the same. It started off, we said, don't bet the early game. And did we throw all our eggs in the basket?
Mate.
Parlays, we had them in goal scorer bets. We had them in our, we both took them to win that game comfortably. And sure enough, we're sitting here at 2:30 on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Absolutely devastated.
To be fair, we weren't the only ones.
We do enjoy Liverpool not winning, don't we? So as Newcastle fans, not devastated, but from a podcast and betting point of view, disappointing.
Yeah, looking at gambling Twitter, the entire country did the nuts on the early game because the books always put on special offers and stuff on the early game as well. And everyone fell for it. Like everyone just followed each other off a cliff. The game we're talking about is Bournemouth 1, Liverpool 0. I took Liverpool on the handicap. You just took Liverpool to score 1 million goals or something, Baz, didn't you? I mean, what a classic Premier League game this was. Liverpool have won 7-0 the week before against Man United. They previously this season beat Bournemouth 9-0. Bournemouth was shite. Bournemouth come in and keep a clean sheet and win 1-0. So, yeah, it was fun. Enjoyed watching Liverpool get beat. But, yeah, and it didn't knock it. It knocked my goal scorer bet was Nunes. It knocked my parlay, which involved Liverpool on the handicap. So, yeah, before the 3 o'clock games had even kicked off, everything had gone completely tits up. The Saturday afternoon, Everton won, Brentford 0. We both took Brentford, Bart. In hindsight, there was a couple of picks on this card with a kind of system plays. Tottenham with the other one, where we did say that if Everton stay up, they're going to win these home games against not the top teams. And they got in front after about 40 seconds and hung on to win 1-0. They actually played okay in the first half, ended up hanging on in the second half. But this is Everton's MO between now and the end of the season. Win ugly home games to stay up, I think.
You mentioned that in another game, probably jump ahead a little bit. But another game, as it was going on, was that Man City Palace game where it was 0-0 really late on, wasn't it? And you just thought, that's Palace's MO, isn't it? They'll just play for that 0-0 over and over and over again. And obviously City break them down. And you mentioned on Twitter, Palace then start to play. But the approach in all of these games is go for the 0-0. And it's worked for them, to be fair. They got a home draw against Liverpool, 0-0. Newcastle, 0-0. The Man United game was exactly the same. Man United go 1-0 up. Although, not that late on. And then they get the draw. They're happy with the draw. And they seem to think they can just survive on draws, I think, Palace. But when you talk about the team's MO, Palace played to their MO by just not coming out, trying to play Man City, try and get that 0-0. And then, we've covered that one as well now.
So the next time Everton get a home game against a team like that, then that might have to be the play. Leeds 2, Brighton 2. Brighton was my bet. They got in front twice, but couldn't hang on. Credit Leeds for getting involved. Brighton still look really dangerous, but that was just a good Premier League game, really. Not an awful lot you could do with that.
I pivoted from Brighton to the Brighton team goals, which paid off on this occasion. So Brighton to score 2 or more was a similar price, 10-11. One of the few successes in my weekend.
I had a winner in the Leicester-Chelsea game. Chelsea beat Leicester 3-1. Leicester's XG was a bit better, actually. They played better than I thought. But better from Chelsea. Maybe they've turned the corner. That win at Dortmund might have done something for them in the week. Leicester are struggling. It's really sucked into this relegation zone here. But they did okay again yesterday, but that's a worry. Both teams to score no was your bet, Baz. That was toast after about 20 minutes. We lost a lot of bets quite early here, actually, as well. Tottenham 3, Forest 1. This was the other MO game, really. Is that Tottenham were good at home, and Forest are terrible away. And in hindsight, it was kind of obviously I tried to get a bit cute, taking the under 2.5 because Tottenham had just stopped scoring. But against probably this Nottingham Forest team, with one of the few teams I shouldn't have done that. So that was a bad pick, really. Tottenham got 3-0 up. Forest got 1 back. Forest missed a penalty. Your pick here, Baz, was Tottenham on the handicap. So that missed penalty got you over the line. Injury time, missed penalty. Happy days.
Oh, did Forest miss a penalty later on?
Forest missed a penalty in the 92nd minute. Yeah.
I
did
not know that.
See, you take the piss out of me in the week for missing late stuff.
We're not very good at these late antics, are we?
We probably spent the last 3 months giving out false results because we haven't been asked to watch the full-time scores.
Well, but I thought my bet was over. To be honest, the bet I took on the day was the Spurs goals, which came in easy enough. Funny enough, I said at the time, my Spurs pick was the one I absolutely hated. And a mate of mine had listened to the podcast and I've listened to a few of your things, but I agree with Malcolm. Spurs can fuck off. The only thing I'm not following is Spurs. And ironically, I messaged them back later in the day saying, you've followed everything apart from the one thing I got right. Stitched everything.
And that was without knowing that Andre Ayew had missed that penalty. Palace 0, Man City 1. We just covered it. Took Man City on the handicap. This was ugly. The weird thing about 2 weird things here. First, Crystal Palace. Why not try until the 82nd minute? Because when they did, they looked all right. They made 3 or 4 half chances. They went forward, and it's against the Manchester City team. Have you seen a vulnerable? Have a go at them. You'll create some chances. The second thing, and this from a City point of view, is why does he keep fanning on with the team? Put your best players out. Kevin De Bruyne is sitting on the bench again, and they're a shell of a team, an absolute shell of a team. So they got away with it. To be fair, they were by far the better team. They missed chance after chance after chance. However, that's what they did at Forest 3 weeks ago, came away with a 1-1, and the exact same thing could have happened. And he just doesn't seem to be learning from it. Or I think he knows he's doing it and just wants to be so clever that he refuses to admit it. Man City got a big game coming up this week that we're going to cover. Then we move on to today's action. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. I took the over 3.5 goals, Baz, at 2-1. 3-0 at half time. I mean, Howie, someone can't give us a break. Mitrovic hit the bar, chance after chance. The second half was wide open, and it finishes 3-0, and I lose me bet. So I was absolutely robbed on that one. Arsenal were very, very good today. Fulham were atrocious. Just rolled out the red carpet. You took both teams to score, which was unlucky because Fulham probably should have got one. Like I say, hit the bar and stuff. But yeah, good win for Arsenal. Don't know what Fulham were playing at. Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. A rare winner for me. I took the under. 13-10 as well, plus 130. It was a good price. However, this kind of hinged on Casemiro, our mate, getting sent off in the first half. So the game kind of fizzled out after that. So I got a little bit lucky. And then really, Southampton should have won. Missed a load of good chances. Walcott had a header straight at the keeper. Walcott had a one-on-one. James Ward-Prowse hit the bar. Walker-Peters hit the beans on toast late on. So Southampton continued their...
red card on us, Malcolm?
Yeah, absolutely.
Red card for you.
Reckless. Endangered the opposition. You took Man United on the handicap, so that was toast. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1. Took Villa. We both took Villa. They got in front through Ollie Watkins, gave away a stupid penalty, and then nothing really much happened after that. So I still think it was the right pick. It was a great price, and like I say, they got in front but couldn't hang on. Watkins has scored in 5 of his last 6 games, Baz. Which game did he not score in? The one that I gave him out as my goal scorer pick for the week. So well done, Ollie. Thank you very much for that, sir. Excellent. And finally, the game I have been to and enjoyed. I wasn't going to have any beers, but I stopped out and had a couple. The beer and a little rum and coke in Castro's after the game. Newcastle 2, Wolves 1. I took the over 2.5. 11-10. It was a good game. Enjoyed it. Wolves contributed fully. Newcastle played quite well, as they have done for several weeks. And then actually scored some goals today. Isak was very good. And we talked about him on the show as someone who could come in and potentially freshen Newcastle up and get amongst the goals. He did that. You took Newcastle team total, 5-6, Baz, minus 120. So that was a little winner as well.
Bit of a sweat on towards the end, but yeah.
Did you notice, Baz, how many corners there was in that game?
10.
Newcastle had 10 corners. Yeah. Simmers asked in the pub if he should put the corners bet on because the line was at 5. I said yes. Tiger talked him out of it. And then I sent a message at half time after Newcastle had a gazillion corners. So yeah.
Yeah, I got in. I got in play, but yeah, it was. I noticed they hit 10. I think they got six by half time or something, weren't they? I knew Newcastle got. I did notice it every time they get the corners. You sort of your ears prick up a little now. I think, here we go again. But,
yeah, that was it was a much needed win for Newcastle. I think we probably deserved it. We deserved a little bit of luck getting the deflected goal, the exact same goal that we've conceded against Man City and Man United. We scored that goal. Deflected 8-yard shot today. Well, it was a good game. Wolves played well. Wolves will be okay. Wolves will be fine. They will definitely stay on my radar between now and the end of the season. The only thing I was disappointed with them was Jimenez up front. Looks absolutely done. I don't know if it's that head injury he got, but he looks like a broken man. So if they play Cunha or maybe Costa if he comes back, or just mix it around, Wolves will definitely be getting on my betting radar. Okay, Captain Sano's joined us in the chat. Aye, Captain. How you doing? Nice to see you as per usual. Okay, I'll do these ad reads and then we're going to get our man Serial on to see if we can help us out. Both 3 out of 10 there this week, Baz. So I lost about 3.5 units. I bet you were the same. Not a million miles away. The Arsenal one would have changed my weekend. But we'll put that behind us, Baz, and we'll get into this midweek after I've told you about the WinBet, the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. WinBet active in a bunch of states and tons of ways to win, including live betting and same-game parlays, a.k.a. WinBet's Build Your Own Bet feature. March Madness is almost here, plus plenty of ways to win. Getting down on the NBA, NHL, and XFL. Sign up today to receive a special offer. Bet $100, get $100, limited to state availability. And of course, for our DGens, if you hit the biggest long shot parlay of the week, you get a $1,000 free credit. Loads to choose from. Head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet so they know that we sent you. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Offer subject to change. T's and C's at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. The March Madness contests are in full swing. The DGen Dance, the bankroll contest is back. It's free to enter. $1,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs. Plus, we've got first half under bingo, where you can win a SGPN gift card. Enter both contests on the SGPN app. Okay, so loads of stuff to get to this midweek. 3 different competitions for us to tackle, and we thought we might need a hand in terms of the heavy lifting, Baz. And we mention Serial most weeks on the show. Serial is never out of the Discord channel, so we thought we'd get him on to show us how it's done. Serial, real name Tarek, but I think we'll go with Serial. Coming to us from Rochester, New York. Serial, good evening, sir. How are you?
Doing all right. How you guys doing?
We are very well. Delighted to have you on. Tell us, just give us a little introduction, who you are, where you're from, and why on earth are you betting soccer?
Well, I've been actually following soccer a long time. One of my good friends, one of my best friends, actually was a top recruit, top nation soccer player, led the league and led his state. A lot of things, and that kind of got me into it, just to kind of follow along and get into what he's into and see, the difference in sports. Because I always liked football. It was kind of my first passion there. So same name, different, whole different type of game. Definitely was interesting to learn. So that's kind of how I got into soccer. For the most part, I think it's a fun game. It has no commercials. The best part of it, for people that are saying it's too boring, I guess commercials every 5 minutes is what you guys like to watch. But it's just a wonderful game. It's a fast moving game, in and out in about 2 hours. Craziness. I think it's probably one of the most anything can happen sports. So awesome.
Do you follow a team, Serial? Do you have your own? Do you support a European team, or have you got a local team that you follow?
I would say I'm probably a big Bayern fan. That'd be my go-to team there. But overall, not really. I like a lot of players. I follow a lot of the different leagues, Italian leagues, French league, Spanish league, English league. So not really particular to one favorite team other than Bayern.
No, fair enough. I find the same because I follow all the American sports. I do the MLB show and NFL, but I enjoy not having a team to support. It's one of my favourite things about it. I invest too much in Newcastle United. You've seen how depressed they've made us over the last month. So when I watch American sport, I love not having a dog in the fight. I can have a bet. I can play DFS. I can play fantasy. And I don't really have any of that baggage with me. So I think if you go to a sport with fresh eyes like you and don't have a team in there, then it's a good thing to do. So, right. The order I'm going to do this tonight, you might whinge, Baz, but I'm going in competition order. So we're going to jump from Wednesday back to Tuesday, then to Wednesday, then to Thursday. You all right with that, Baz? Can you handle that?
Do whatever you want. Just tell me what we're talking about, and I'll tell you the winners.
Captain Insane was in the chat, perpetuating this myth that I'm a New York Mets fan when I'm not a New York Mets fan. When you download the app, it makes you press a button on what team to follow before you can get to the next page. And I just pressed the New York Mets. And ever since then, him and Munaf and all the other idiots keep banging on about that. So we're going to start on Wednesday. Premier League, right? We've got 2 Premier League games. We're both on Wednesday, both 7:30 UK time, 2:30 Eastern time kickoffs. And the first one is Brighton against Crystal Palace, where the odds are Brighton are 9-17, -188. The draw is 3-1. Crystal Palace are 5-1. Brighton being in good form, and I think they do look set for a strong finish to the season. Played at Leeds at the weekend. Say they got in front twice, couldn't hang on, finished off 2-2. They've been back amongst the goals, which we expected. Scored 4 before against West Ham. this is a bit of a derby match, which is always a weird one. I think we mentioned last time. And they're probably 40 or 50 miles away, but Crystal Palace is kind of the southernmost team in London. And then you head south to the south coast, and Brighton's the next place you come to. So there's quite a lot of bad blood here. Crystal Palace are just way, way, way out of form. And as Baz already mentioned in the review, they're not trying to win. It's really, really head-scratching. Hard one to handicap. I think Brighton are too good not to win this game, especially the player. Mitoma's in great form. McAllister's in great form. I actually put a safety net in place here because Palace always keep it close. Again, Baz just mentioned 1-0 against City at the weekend. They had the 0-0 with Newcastle. They had the 1-1 with Manchester United. Even when they're crap, it's almost like they seem to be happy to lose 1-0. So I think Brighton are going to give them a going over here. But I put a safety net in place just because I think Palace might keep it tight. The bet is going to be Brighton -1 on the Asian handicap. So that price is 13 to 14, -107. And that will be a push if Brighton only win by 1. So if Palace do the usual thing and keep it tight, we'll get our money back if Brighton win by 1. But I think Brighton can go on and beat them. Brighton won't change their game at all. And Palace can't keep going along like this. They don't look like scoring. Brighton will get a couple. So, 2-0 or 3-1 for me to Brighton. Brighton -1 on the Asian handicap is my pick. Bazza, what you got?
I think Brighton will win it. 2-2 draw against Leeds at the weekend. Well, it looks to have been a fair result, really. They went through a run of games where they were hugely underachieving against their XG, but the last 2 games have been pretty much bang on it. They scored 4 last week for an XG of 3.9 and 2 this week for an XG of 1.9. So they're sort of getting back to what you would expect from the chances they're creating. 4 wins and 5 at home for Brighton. Just Fulham beat them 1-0. And I've wrote down Palace aren't interested in winning, which is why they don't win.
They're not.
So that's the reason why they haven't won in 10 league games now. And in 6 of those, they've failed to score. The only positive for Palace, and it's not for your bet as such, is they do defend well. They don't concede many. Only Spurs have managed to score more than 1 goal against them in the last 10 games. That's a pretty good defensive record there. So although Brighton are getting back in the goals, I'm taking Palace to keep the score low. Not convinced Palace can get on the score sheet. I think a 1-0 or a 2-0 Brighton, and the unders at 10 to 11 is the pick for me. So Brighton v Palace under 2.5 at 10 to 11 is my pick.
Okay, so we can both win, Baz, with a 2-0 Brighton win. Serial, you're on. Now's your big moment. Show us what you got.
Yeah, I mean, you guys kind of hit some of the nails on the head. Do you guys know how many games have finished 1-1 in the last 7?
4.
Palace.
4? I got 5.
No, are you talking about 4 Palace here?
Yeah, for Palace and Brighton.
Yeah, right. That's head-to-head games.
Yep, the head.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm with you.
5 of the last 7 have finished 1-1.
Because, like I say, it is a derby game, and
it is a derby.
You'd be stunned how many of those derby games finish 1-1. They just cancel each other out the whole time. So, yeah, that's a great point.
Yep. Even last match, March scored in the 63rd minute. Tompkins answered right back 69 minutes. That's how they got the 1-1 last time. Do I think it probably happens again? I mean, 5 of the last 7 would say most likely, right? And as you guys touched on before with the wins at home, the scoring, who's been scored on, and the defense of Palace. I'm kind of with you on the low scoring to under 2.5 was one of my leans too. I actually went the opposite way of Malcolm and went Crystal Palace +1. It has won and draw in all 6 of the last games for Crystal Palace. Under 2.5 is hit in 5 of 6 of the last games for Crystal Palace. So both, I think, -1 +1 probably. Both can win, but I'll take the draw potential to hit that +1.
Yeah, I don't mind that serial. As you say, they do have a lot of draws in there. They drew with Man United, Newcastle. They drew. I mean, this game was only played. The reverse leg was played on the 11th of February, only 4 weeks ago, and was a 1-1. As you say, Brighton would be favoured now at home. But those head-to-heads, as you've pointed out, I mean, six of the last 7 have all gone under 2.5 as well. There's plenty. Yeah, Palace will do exactly what they've been doing it and play for that draw. So don't mind that at all.
I think if Brighton score first and Palace have to come out, then they can pick them apart. The longer it goes on with Palace doing what Palace will always try to do and keep it very tight and 0-0, then the more chance those low-scoring ones have of hitting. But okay, next up, we've got Southampton against Brentford, where Southampton are the 2-1 home puppies here. The draw is 9-4 plus 225. And Brentford are 11-8 plus 137. But as Southampton continue to pick up points, home game here, can they get a win?
I don't think so. Some positives for them in there. I mean, a good point today that it took that before the game, but as you said, hugely helped by a red card in the first half for Casemiro. And probably they'll feel a little bit unlucky that they weren't able to capitalise on that more and take the 3 points. But they did beat Leicester last week, so that's they'll see that as 2 positive results. Bit of a boost for them in the relegation battle, which they're well and truly in. Another team where goals in the games are hard to come by. The last 4 league games have seen 1-0 and 3 1-0, so just 3 goals across the 4 games. Brentford took the first defeat in 13 league games at the weekend, or maybe 13 games in all competitions. But anyway, they'd gone on a 12-game unbeaten streak. Everton beat them 1-0, another game for the unders. And that's hit 5 of the last 7 in Brentford games. And again, it's another one where you've only got to look back 5 weeks since the reverse leg. Brentford won that one 3-0 in the home game. So despite there being a few green shoots of recovery for Southampton, I just had a look at the prices, and I'm prepared to give Brentford another chance after backing them at Everton at the weekend, not getting the win from that. They're available at 6-4 here, and I think that's a decent price against Southampton, who still aren't very good. 6-4, I think, is a fair price. I'm taking Brentford to bounce back with a win here at 6-4.
So bar scores for Brentford, second week running. Haven't let them down. Serial Southampton against Brentford.
Yep, I kind of am the same way. I kind of lean toward Brentford on this one here. Did you know they played 8 matches all time?
Okay, you have a bit of Serial's here with his head-to-head stuff, Baz. He's showing us.
That's why EPL's for it, right? It's something we can't do with champions. We don't have a lot of history behind matchups, but 4-2-2, Brentford lead the all-time series. Over 1.5 has hit in every single one of those. So on all 8, over 2.5 has hit in 4 out of 8. Both teams to score in 3 out of those 8. And last 2 meetings, Brentford won 3-0. So I'm with you on those leans. I know you're probably going to say something about it, but draw no bet markets for the American friends here that don't like to lose on ties. Possibility here with Brentford at -135. That's where I lean. And money line, I can, I'm okay with that too at +140. And I kind of looked at a correct score here with a 1-1 scoreline is +400 as a super long shot. It is actually one of the favorite score lines too.
You want to get that parlay on Brighton 1, Palace 1, and Southampton 1, Brentford 1. We go for the 1-1 parlay on Wednesday night. We'd be rich. Southampton picking up points. There's a little bit of life in them. I thought they were absolutely dead and buried. Brentford drew a rare blank at the weekend. They've been in great form. Had to come to an end at some point. But they were unlucky not to score. They played well. They made several chances. I think both teams will go for it. Brentford have got nothing to lose here at all. They're in an elevated position in the league. They only know how to play one way, really. The manager will just have a pop. And I think Southampton, confident, picking up points, will look to capitalise. I think this is going to be an open game. I'll happily take the 1-1 because my pick here is going to be both teams to score at 4-5, -125. Okay, now we're going to hop into our time machine here. And we're going to head backwards from Wednesday to Tuesday, just to agitate Baz a little bit, into the Champions League, where we've got the second leg of the games that were played a few weeks ago. Tuesday is 8 o'clock kickoffs, 3 p.m. Eastern time between, first up, Manchester City and RB Leipzig. Manchester City are 2-5, minus 250. The draw is 17-4, plus 425. Leipzig are 13-2, plus 650. And we will hand this one off to Serial to take the lead. Serial, what you got?
So this would be, I would call it the rubber match between them, because they've finished 1-1 in all three of these meetings so far. Last time, City had 62% possession. They had 12 shots, 3 on, 4 corners, 0 cards. They had expected goals of 1.18, with Leipzig at 38 possessions, 7 shots, 4 on, 2 corners, 1 cards for our card friends here, and the XG of 0.77. So both kind of did what they were, I guess, expected to do for goals. This time, City at home, where they have a pretty immaculate home record. They're scoring 2.25 goals, conceding 0.25, XG of 1.95, and an XG against of 0.9. Leipzig on the road, 50% win percentage, 2.5 scored, 0.75 concede, XG of 2.11, and XG against of 0.95. City at home is 5-0 in the last 5. Clean sheet in 3 of those. Only one team has scored over 2. That was Tottenham when they were 2-0 at half. 4-2-0 in the last 6. Overall, scoring 2+ in 3 of those. Since the 1-1 tied with Leipzig a couple weeks ago. Leipzig is 3-1 the last 5 away. Clean sheets in just 2 of those. 2+ in all the others. All the other wins that they have had for those 3. 3-1-2 overall last 6. Scored in all 6. City are scoring 2.1 goals a match at home. Leipzig is scoring 2 goals a match away. City is conceding 0.6 at home. Leipzig is conceding 1 goal away. So this one was a little bit of toss-up here. I mean, the books are pricing it as if Leipzig won't score. But their over 2.5 is at minus 180. So I don't see how they can hit over 2.5 if both don't score. Both teams that score have hit in all 3 of these meetings so far. Over 2.5 probably should have hit in all 3 of these meetings so far. But on the books, it's just 2. So, I mean, both teams to score was my lean here. If you like a little bit of plus money, City plus both teams to score is plus 155.
Okay, so it's Man City and both teams to score for Serial. Yeah, I sided with the both teams to score. I'll just run off for your handicap there, mainly because it's an eye test thing. I've watched Man City. Man City are always going to score. It looks more and more likely that Kevin De Bruyne is key for them, as we mentioned a little bit earlier. Leipzig are going okay. They do score goals. Recently in the league, they scored 6 at Schalke. They scored 3 at Wolfsburg. And Manchester City just look like they're sleepwalking into conceding at all times. Newcastle didn't score against them, but probably should have done. Palace didn't, but didn't try to. And even in the last 8 minutes when they had a little go, they made some half chances. So I'm still not really in on the Man City defence. So Manchester City will probably win. They could win 2-1 or 3-1, but I think Leipzig can get a goal here. Both teams to score 4-5, minus 125, Baz.
Yeah, I mean, similar. I think Leipzig will play their part in this. I do think City will get the job done. There are a few doubts creeping in with City in some of these games lately, but at home they are getting the job done in particular. And across the recent results, despite not playing great, it's four wins on the bounce since that first leg. I mean, we've discussed recently how reliable the home form is for City. I've brought it up a few times in Premier League discussion. Won the last 6, 5 of them by 2 or more, scored 17 goals in the last 6. But Leipzig are a good side. They've scored 49 goals in 24 games this season in the league. I think City, as I say, will get the job done. Leipzig will play their part. I'm not sold on the defence either, like you. They've kept 3 clean sheets in a row, but that come against Newcastle, who are struggling to score, Palace struggling to score, and a Championship side in Bristol in the Cup. Leipzig are a better attacking proposition than any of those at the moment. So I'll take Leipzig to get on the score sheet. But I've gone a different way. I've gone with the over 3.5 goals. It's hit 3 of the last 6 at home for Man City. It's hit 4 of the last 8 at home. So it's hitting it almost 1 in 2 games all season, and you're getting plus money, plus 150, 6-4 for over 3.5 goals. That's a pick for me. Man City Leipzig over 3.5 goals at 6-4 plus 150.
Okay, cheers, Baz. The second game on Tuesday is Porto against Inter Milan. Porto are 13-8 plus 162. The draw is 5-2 plus 250, and Milan are 13-5 plus 160. The first leg finished 1-0 to Inter. So yeah, it's a close run thing, and the books are struggling to split them here over 90 minutes on Tuesday night. Porto are second in their league. We mentioned last week when we were talking about Benfica and Sporting Lisbon that it's not the greatest league in the world. Looking through a form line, there's a 2-1 win away to Sporting Lisbon in there. We saw Sporting Lisbon draw 2-2 at home to Arsenal last week. And they're quite a well-balanced side, Porto, as well. They score goals, they defend okay. Milan are second in Serie A, best of the rest, really, because Napoli are away and gone. They lost at Spezia on Friday night. They were a short-priced favourite, actually, Inter, to win that. They got turned over on Friday. And they have only won 5 of their 13 league games this season on the road. They don't draw. They've drawn 2 games in 26 into Milan. So we can put a line through the draw. So if either of you two have got the draw, quickly scribble that out and find something else to bet on, because that's not going to happen.
So no 1-1 for this game, huh?
No 1-1 for this one, Serial. It's just not happening. I thought, now the lines are very Porto in Milan. We've established it's not going to be a draw, and the books can't split them. It's 162 to plus 160. Porto are live here. I've gone to the market to qualify. Porto are 5-2 to qualify. So that means they have to win the game in 90 minutes by at least 1 and then find a way through, whether it's an extra time or penalty kicks or whatever. But I give Porto a chance here at home. They're plus 250, 5-2 to qualify from the tie. That's going to be my pick. Baz, what you got?
That works for me, Malcolm. No need to go over most of the stats again, really. Only one thing I did was I'd look for some cards markets, because I like knockout cup games, close ties, where we might get some cards, time waste, and all of that sort of stuff. I noticed Porto games recently been full of cards, red cards, in fact. There was a red card for Porto in the first leg. In the 3 games since, Porto had 2 people sent off in the next league game. The game after that, Chavez had 2 sent off against Porto. And this weekend, Estoril had 1 sent off in Porto. So that's 6 red cards in Porto's last 4 games. So potentially, cards might be something that couldn't find any markets yet, but might be something to look at on the night. And again, we'll always get in the Discord chat with that sort of stuff. I fancy Porto here. I think they're a good price. They're a strong side at home. They've not failed to score in 13 games. I know the strength of opposition isn't always great in Portugal, but in Europe, they've beaten both Atletico Madrid and Leverkusen at home. In the group stages, and as I say, Inter are a bit all over the place really form-wise. As you say, they are in second, but a long way behind. I think at 8-5 plus 160, I think Porto are a good price, so that's a pick for me. Porto to win the game in 90 minutes at 8-5 plus 160.
Okay, so we got 2 for Porto. Serial, is it a team ride?
Well, I mean, I can definitely see your guys' point on it. Porto at home, Inter away, and Porto at home is pretty good. 2 scored, 0.75 concede, or have an expected goal of 1.96, expected against of 1.27. Inter's kind of in that same kind of boat where they perform just as equal away and home. Really, both these teams are defensively sound. Like, I mean, I would probably say under 2.5 to be different. But Porto at home, I could definitely lean, but I think Inter's got the better team. Where maybe they can pull out another late winner. on it, but I did also have 1-1. I know you hate it. 1-1 scoreline plus 400 was another one I noticed there. So,
Whoa.
I mean,
under
I felt
2.5.
it lean towards the unders. I took the under in the first leg. I don't see it being a high scoring game, so you know, I don't mind the lean towards the unders. But yeah, Malcolm said it can't be a draw, so
It can't be a draw. We've ruled it out. We've put it.
Malcolm says a lot of things that turn out not
Yeah,
to be true.
Well, he said on the last podcast that he wants to look for comparisons to recent games. Well, I think we're going to get a lot of these for the champions.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong. Always confident is the key. Underdog fantasy. Heating up, ready for March Madness. College Pick'em is a great way to get in on the action, especially if your bracket is busted after day one. Plus, Underdog Fantasy has your favourite college basketball player props. Head over to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. Okay, Wednesday night, Champions League. Still 8 o'clock, 3 p.m. Eastern Time kickoffs. First up is Napoli against Eintracht Frankfurt. Napoli 2-1 on, minus 200. The draw is at Burlington Bertie 100-30 plus 333. Frankfurt are 11-2 plus 550. Bazaar, Napoli, prohibitive favourites. Did you find something fancy for us?
Yeah, not too prohibitive for me. I think Napoli, I think they've done what they need to do really in the first leg, to be fair. 2-0 up from the first leg. A pretty standard score from Napoli. 4 of their last 5 games have all finished 2-0. The other game in there was a 1-0 defeat to Lazio. And that's the only game they've failed to win in the last 9. They've also only conceded 2 goals in the last 9 games. So really, really good form. And as you say, 2-0s and 3-0s, it seems to be their go-to scores on a weekly basis. Obviously, it's not necessary here with a 2-0 lead, but I think they'll still be strong in this one. Frankfurt with 2 draws and 1 loss since the first leg. Both teams to score hit in all 3 of those. I think Napoli, as I say, have done what they need in the first leg, but they're strong defensively. I don't see any way back into it for Frankfurt. And I think Napoli don't really need to take any risks with the lineup here. They're 18 points clear in the league. I think they'll be strong. They'll be looking to keep the momentum up. And I think they can win comfortably again. I'm willing to take them on the Asian handicap here. It's -1 at 4-5, so -125. I think they'll win the game. Hopefully they'll push on and win by 2 or more. And that's the play for me. Napoli on the Asian handicap, -1 at 4-5, -125.
Okay, so Baz takes Napoli to do it comfortably. Cyril, do you agree?
I do agree. I think it's going to be another one of those dominant games Napoli does. I mean, the first leg, they had 70% possession. They put up 18 shots, 10 on targets, and they had 9 corners. 2 cards, no yellow, no reds, and an XG of 2.87 compared to Frankfurt at home. That had expected goals of 0.45. So they did not really have too much of a chance here to make it too competitive. And do you guys remember what happened last time? My long shot for this last time.
You have to remind me, Cyril.
You don't remember?
Was it a score a bit?
Yeah, it was a score.
And he missed a penalty, didn't he?
Yes. 19-1. It was what's his name? Koulibaly.
Funny enough, he gets a mention later on in the show from me as well. So
is he coming back?
He's coming back, yeah. I can't pronounce his name now, but I've got it written down further in my notes.
Was it the Georgian fella you're on about?
Yes.
Yeah, he's been linked to Newcastle more than once recently.
He missed the penalty really early on as well in that game, didn't he? Kvaratskhelia. Yeah. Missed a pen, didn't he, and cost you a good few pounds.
Yeah. And Colo isn't going to be playing this game, right? Because he got a red the last one.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think they're going to score probably. So Napoli and over 1.5 goals, -135. I have started out as one of my favorite bets. I also don't mind the halftime full time. Napoli scored in 80% of the first halves of their games, 60% of the second halves of their games. So maybe even do both to score both halves at +125. But I think maybe a better way to approach that is the halftime full time +110.
That's a great bet. I used to like a half-time, full-time bet. We haven't thrown many of them out, Baz, on the show. I might have to get back into that. My pick here, I've shown a little bit of growth and development, Baz, and I've taken a bet that has come from some of the American guests that we've had on the show, which is to take Napoli on the money line and to tag on under 4 goals. That just gives us more options, I think, because on the off chance Frankfurt do get a lucky one, then you've still got Napoli to win 2-1. But yeah, if they don't, then you've got Napoli all the way up to 3-0. And if Napoli get ahead 1 or 2, they'll probably just ease off a little bit because the game's in the bank. So yeah, Napoli on the money line and under 4 goals for me is a price of 11-8, which is plus 137.
Yeah, I don't mind all of those players. They're so consistent at the moment, Napoli, in what they do, and it feeds into everything we've gone for there. I think that definitely one I'm pretty confident in this week. Okay, the final Champions League match, this was a really weird one to handicap, is Real Madrid against Liverpool. Real Madrid 5-4 plus 125. The draw is 3-1, and Liverpool are 15-8 plus 187. Yeah, this was hard to work out because Madrid are 5-2 up from the first leg, going back to the Bernabeu. So how do you see this one panning out, Serial?
Well, we already know the mantra, right? Mantra right now is F pool.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Well done, you. Yeah. You can come again.
So in the 7 meetings, I think that's also the same mantra. In the 7 meetings these teams have faced, got so many Liverpool's won.
You're going to tell me
None.
Hey.
6-1 for Madrid and 0 losses. So they're also on that same thing. Actually, the first game saw Pool have more possession of the ball. They had the same shots, 9, 5 for Pool on target, 6 for Madrid on target, 4 corners for Pool, 3 for Madrid. So, again, the corners people each saw 1 card. And expected goals were just completely not matching the story here on this one for Madrid. Their expected goals were 1.64, and they somehow put 5 on them. So, F pool, I'm not even going to make it too complicated. Madrid money line, draw no bet. You can also do it minus 140. The highest scoring second half, I also have down here as a start bet. Let me just find my stats here to back it up. Madrid scored 40 in the first half of their games, 40% of the first half of their games, 70 in the second half. Pool 60-80 in the second half. Madrid average 1.5 scored in the second half. So the highest scoring half being the second half probably would be my lean there.
Okay, I love that. Pretty straightforward. Madrid to win it on the money line. I like that. Clean and simple. Baz?
That's cool.
Which of you have got a phone that keeps buzzing?
Oh, that's probably me.
It sounds like a fire engine.
Yeah, mute it, because if it's getting on my nerves, it's probably getting on anybody else who's listening. if you could mute it, that would be great. And you're right. I mean, everything leans Madrid, but it's a game, as Malcolm says, really, really hard to handicap, because how does each team approach it in a game that looks dead and buried? I'd say Liverpool won't give up on it, will they? They've pulled off miracles like this before. It wasn't that many years ago. They overturned a 3-goal deficit against Barcelona. And they'll go and they will give it a go. And, they showed in the first leg they're capable of getting goals. But I just think I can see Madrid not needing to go for it, and therefore possibly being quite a low-scoring affair. Madrid have struggled a little bit since the first leg. They drew with Atletico Madrid, drew with Betis, lost to Barcelona in the Copa del Rey. They get back to winning ways yesterday with a 3-1 win over Espanyol. Liverpool, obviously, really disappointing against Bournemouth after the highs of the 7-0 the week before. I think you look at the books, that they all clearly think there's goals in this, and I'm not so sure. Real Madrid don't need to risk anything. And just because Liverpool need loads of goals doesn't mean they're going to get them. Real have been solid in the league defensively. They've conceded only 3 in the last 9 games. Liverpool have hit the unders 5 of the last 6 in the league. And on the road, they're not scoring many goals at all. Liverpool, last 4 games away, they failed to score against Bournemouth, failed to score against Palace, scored twice against Newcastle, then they failed to score against Wolves. So they've been shut out 3 of the last 4 games away from home. And there's no reason why Real Madrid can't keep them quiet here. Under 2.5 goals for me looks to be a bit of a value play. It's plus 150, 6-4. And that's where I'm going.
Well, Baz, I've got sour news for you, Jack, because I took the exact same bet, under 2.5 goals, plus 150. I did right here. I'm going to zag where everyone else is zigging, but if you've zagged as well, then no one's zigged. I'll tell you what's going to happen. I won't repeat everything you've just said. Real Madrid score first. It's 1-0 at half time, and everybody just gives up because it's game over. So that's it. Easy. So under 2.5 goals at plus 150. Next up, we're going to continue the Europa League second leg games. We handicapped 2 last week involving Man United and Arsenal. The second legs are on Thursday, so we'll crack on into them. First up are, they both at 8 o'clock. Let's have a look. No, Man United are early. Man United at tea time kick off. Get your crumpets out. 5:45 UK time, 12:45 Eastern time between Real Betis and Manchester United. Real Betis 11-4. Plus 275. The draws at 5-2, plus 250. And Manchester United are 18-19, minus 105. Man United 4-1 up from the first leg, so it's a bit of a lame duck, this one. And if you watch the game, well, I watched most of it, and then we sort of live broadcast parts of the second half when we were doing our show. But there was a definite gulf in class here between the two teams. And I think Betis are just kind of that second tier of Spanish team. They're not up there, obviously, with Madrid, Barcelona, etc. Even things like the strike, Jose Perez was the centre forward. Now, we know and love Jose Perez, ex-Newcastle striker, but he's not a top-class striker. He ran around a lot, and I quite liked him. He's got lovely hair, but he's not going to make the difference. I think Betis will have a go here, and part of the handicap last week was that they do have a go. They do score some goals. I took both teams to score last week and cashed. Manchester United is still vulnerable at the back. I think they'll make some changes this time. We said that last week and they didn't. It's a short price this. It's a little bit off the ladies' menu, but I'm going to take both teams to score again at 7-10. It's going to be my play. Baz, what you got? Betis Man United.
Don't mind that at all. We both cashed this one last week. I took the handicap, which came in easy enough. I mean, I think the game's obviously done, isn't it? Man United 4-1 up. As you say, Betis drew today 1-1 against Villarreal. That was 6 times in a row, the both teams to score in Betis games. I expect Betis to give it a go and possibly get themselves on the score sheet, so don't mind your both teams to score at all. I think Man United will be strong enough to get in on the action also, though, despite the fact they won't need to go and win it. I think they'll just chip away and get the goals. So I'm happy to take the overs here. It's 10-11. It's hit in the last... How many games for Man United? It's hit lots of times for Man United, let's say. I have a blank.
Finished 0-0 today, Baz.
I have a blank here. It says it's hit blank out of the last 10 in Man United games. So that's terrible note writing for me because I've no idea how many in the last 10 games.
Nothing like tripping yourself up, Baz, is there? Leaving the number out of your own notes.
I know. And then exposing myself to everybody as being a bit of a numpty. But anyway, I'm assuming that number was quite a high number as a proportion of 10. And therefore, I'm going to look in a minute. Anyway,
it's a shambles.
10-11. It's a fair price for me. Over 2.5 goals. Betis v Man United at 10-11.
Okay. Serial, have you got your...
How many out of 10
have you got your numbers written down? Or are you making it up like Baz?
Yeah. This is definitely a made-up one. I don't know what to really expect here. As I've kind of mentioned before, I mean, they're up 3 in the aggregates. I mean, we probably expect a rotated team, right? But for Manchester, maybe Betis as well. Still think Man U is good enough to win the game. So I went Man U under 4.5 goals at plus 137.
You see, that's the same bet as I took before.
Man U went under 3.5.
3.5 was like 145, 150.
So Man U went under 4.5 was the play, Baz.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, excellent. One more game then to round us off of the show. We've made good time. This is perfect, this, boys. Good effort. Arsenal against Sporting Club of Lisbon. Arsenal are 9-25, minus 277, The draw is 15-4 plus 375. Lisbon are 13-2 plus 650. Baza, Arsenal, Lisbon.
Yeah, this is another one where I've got a blank in my notes because Sporting were playing tonight when I was writing my notes.
Okay.
And finished quite recently. So I didn't have the score down, but I've just Googled that one, so I'm a bit more prepared. 5 league wins in a row for Arsenal now. They were ruthless today, I thought, against Fulham. I thought Fulham might cause them a few problems, back to both teams to score in that one, but I thought Arsenal were really, really good. 1-1 from the first leg, as you say. Sporting have played tonight. 1-3-0 at home to Boa Vista. I mean, we mentioned before, hard to know what to make of a lot of the form in this Portuguese league. There is a bit of a gulf between some of the teams at the top and lower down. But I thought it was right to fade Arsenal in the first leg. I thought they'd actually make more changes than they did. I know the rest of Odegaard and Partey and 1 or 2 in the defence. I went unders in that one in the end and lost. That's 6 of the last 7 have gone over now for Arsenal. And whilst I could see them getting a result here, I think Sporting will make a fight of it. I still think there's plenty of jeopardy here for Arsenal. They've only failed to score once in the last 13 games, Sporting. So I'm going to back them to get on the score sheet in a high score and a fair. The overs is a little bit short at 8-11, but that's a pick for me here. Arsenal v Sporting over 2.5 goals at 8-11.
Arsenal Sporting for you, Serial?
I kind of have the same idea in my head where it's going to be maybe some goals here. Arsenal 3-1-1 the last 5 at home. They have scored in all 5 of those games. 2+ have been scored in 3 of those games. Their clean sheet record in those 5 games, just 1, which was against Everton. And opponents have scored 2+ in 3 of those 5. Overall, they are 5-1 in the last 6, and 2+ have been scored in 5 of those 6 for them, and a clean sheet in 3 of those 6, and 2+ have been scored in the other 3 that were not zeros. So they can be scored on. I think Lisbon, according to their XG last game, because their XG was 2.21, I don't know, how they got that with 32% possession, so a lot of counters is what my guess was. 'Cause I didn't really watch this game. Unfortunately, I was working. But that's what numbers look like. I think both teams to score, yes, at -105 is a good play. If you wanted to do some parlay, I put Arsenal, Brentford, draw no bet, Crystal Palace +1, and MU money line for +800.
Okay, so both teams to score, and see, we'll throw in a few parlays out as well. My pick was the same, Serial, both teams to score. I enjoyed this game last week. It was good, wide open, 2-2. Both teams looked vulnerable and scored from set pieces. They both looked good for a goal or 2. And I was sort of the same again here. Arsenal likely winners, as the odds would tell you. But both teams to score looks like for me at a price of 18-19, -105. Serial, we've got D Nizzy in the chat asking about SF. Now, what does he mean by that? And is it something that's a family-friendly story?
Definitely, I would say probably not friendly story to put out there, but he's definitely one of my buddies here. We have a different Discord for, short for DNP is what we call ourselves. We're a nice little clique of friends there, so I'm glad he came out to support it. Thank you, D Nizzy. But yeah, I definitely don't want to talk about that on air.
So Dina's tried to throw you under the bus there, and
D Nizzy can send us private messages. We're on Twitter, SGPN Premier. You can
tell us the stuff. Blackmail him, D Nizzy. Blackmail him. Baz, anything fancy you wanted to throw out?
Loads. Yeah. Scorer, I've gone with Napoli game, Kvaratskhelia at 2-1 to be an anytime scorer. He's the penalty taker for them, unless they've kicked him off because he missed in the first leg. He did score at the weekend. As I say, missed the penalty in that first leg. Leading up to the first leg, he'd scored in 3 consecutive games as well. I think he's a good shout at 2-1, +200 for Kvaratskhelia. It's easy for me to say. Underdog play. This is purely a value play here. My underdog is going to be Sporting at 8-1 to win in 90 minutes against Arsenal. They were good value for the draw in the first leg. I'm still not sure Arsenal would be too disappointed if they went out of this competition at this stage, given what else they've got going on in the season in terms of going for the league. Purely on the value, my underdog this week is Sporting to beat Arsenal in 90 minutes. You can get 8-1 plus 800. You shop around, you get that price. There's a lot of noise going on somewhere.
Some weird noises going on in the background. Yeah,
That's probably me.
So
that's my underdog. Sporting to beat Arsenal at 8-1. I've got a parlay as well, but if you want to chuck out any underdogs you've got, let me know.
My dog was my pick from the Porto game, which is Porto to qualify. We've both gone Portuguese heavy bus. Porto to qualify out the tie at 5-2 at plus 250. There was no goal scorer markets when I looked earlier on, so I fetched a yellow card market, Baz, which is in the Brighton versus Crystal Palace game, local derby. There was a little bit of fisticuffs in the first game. Nathaniel Klein, he's a little bit old and slow, and he's going to be up against Mitoma. Mitoma is on form, one of the form players in the Premier League, is the Japanese man. And Nathaniel Klein is 15-4, plus 375 to get booked. He got booked on Saturday against Palace, so I'll take Klein. My parlay, both teams to score, treble. The Manchester City game, the Manchester United game, and the Arsenal game. So everyone to score in those is 5-1. You've got a parlay, Baz?
Which games did he go for? Both teams to score?
Man City, Man United, Arsenal.
I've picked the exact 3 games that you've picked. My parlay is over 2.5 in the same games.
Okay.
That's around plus 450, 9-2.
It's going to be a sickener for you when one of them finishes.
Man United, Man City.
You need to avoid all of Serial's 1-1 draws that he's tipped up here. Then.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But keeps you in play. So yeah, that's mine. The Arsenal, Man U, Man City games all to be over 2.5 is the parlay at plus 4.
Excellent. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, has filled up our hour beautifully. Got us to the end of the show. I will firstly like to thank Serial for coming on.
Thank you, Serial.
Well done, Serial. You were an absolute natural. Did you have fun?
Yeah, not bad for an American, huh?
Not bad. You've disappointed me particularly because until tonight I had the best hair on the show. You've now turned up with the best hair on the show. Barry has been relegated into third place. I've had to put my hat on. Your hair's so good, Serial, that my hair just won't cut it anymore. So I'm sitting here in my bobble hat. Barry's sitting there looking like a pool ball, as per usual. What's the rest of your Sunday looking like, Serial?
Well, I think there's just about NBA on tonight, so I think that's probably how it's going to end.
Fair enough. Me and Baz have got to go to bed. If I had time, I would tell you, I've been dog sitting this weekend, and Baz will tell you, I hate dogs, like actively can't stand them. So if we weren't beyond the hour, I would tell you about my trials and tribulations, dog sitting for my sister. But as we finish this show, I've now got to get back into the van and go back to my sister's to continue my dog sitting duties till the morning. So I'll tell you how horrific a time that was, possibly on Thursday. Baz, anything we need to know before we get on?
No, nothing from me. It's been good. Cheers for joining us, Serial. So always good to have another head in the game.
Another vote, yeah.
After us having a stinking week.
Yeah.
Let's see if three heads can do better than 2 this week.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks everyone for getting involved in the YouTube comments. Dean Nizzy, thank you, appreciate it. First time watcher, Captain Insano as well. Usual place, the Discord channel has been absolutely flames this weekend. There was some loads of goals, some yellow card bets that I missed. It's just this stupid dog's fault that I was missing all the, you lot were picking up cards, sendings off.
Friday was brilliant. I put out a red card bet that came in. We got on the cards ladder in the same game, which came in, and then Brian put out a 16-1 keeper to get a yellow card. Your play, system play.
Yep, the system play.
Close game, 80 minutes, 16-1. The keeper was, and sure enough, 99 minutes, bang, yellow card.
99
yeah, there was
minutes.
Some really good stuff.
Wow.
Really, you've got to get in the Discord for all the bonus plays.
All of that.
Yeah.
Get across the rest of the network as well, because I'm pretty sure its first half under starts this week as well, which is just absolute madness. So yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks everyone for listening. Good luck with your bets between now and Thursday. We'll be back 3:30 Eastern time on Thursday to check all these winners and have a look at the Prem. So good luck with those. But until then, We'll see you down the road. Cheers.